Welcome back to movementprofessional.com. Today I want to go over how to use a couch properly. Sitting has been getting quite a bad rap lately after a couple studies came out showing the dangers of it. It's even been referred to as the new smoking. The way we sit currently in our society, it is very detrimental to our health. But sitting in itself is not an unnatural thing to do. It's something that human beings have been doing as long as they've been existing. The problem is what we're sitting on and the length of time that we're sitting for. And the reason that we're able to sit for such long periods of time is because we have such comfortable things to sit on. So one of them, an example, our couch. I find it quite comfortable, especially when we can lounge back and just take on this posture here. So off to the right here, I'm looking at my television. If I find comfort in this position, I can easily, and I often do, fall asleep here and spend plenty of time here. So as you see in this position, I've taken on a rounded spine. All right, my head is usually going to be cocked off to look at the TV off to the right. So I'll always be in an imbalanced position of flexion in the lumbar spine and actually a right rotation in my neck with a slight upward point of the chin. All right, so that's just one position I can take on here. Sometimes I may go this way, watch TV here. Again, my chin will be poked up, kind of being pulled into a left rotated position. Either way, if I get too comfortable here, I'm going to spend way too much time in an asymmetrical position. So one of the ways we can use the couch better and keep more active with sitting and also actually get some mobility work in at the same time is use the padding for it to help support our knees and some of the bony processes and go into some different stretches. So one of the best ones is popping up here on the top of the couch. We can work on this split half kneeling position while we're working on the flexibility of the anterior chain here, this leg, and then we'll switch it into the other leg. All right, so we can focus on not just hanging out here, but also trying to get active through the midline, squeeze the back buttock a little bit, get a good stretch in the front of this thigh. Can also work on opening this front hip here. Still can be watching TV if that's what I want to do. All right, can actually work on some ankle mobility and some hip mobility up through here, and then easily just transition to the other side, keep it balanced. Can also look at any differences side to side. So a great exercise to do. I'm nice and upright, working on midline stabilization, really just opening up this hip into extension, which usually in normal sitting, if I bring it back forward, is always getting restricted. All right, so that's just a way to balance that out. Another position to go into and work on is this Z-sit position, which really can be tight and very uncomfortable on the ground if you have some tightness in your hip external rotators, hip internal rotators. Actually, what gets tight is the ankles. So having this nice padded surface here gives my ankles a little bit of a cushion, and I can actually get deeper into the stretch. I can actually put my toes under the cushion here and have a little bit of spacer for the ankle. And then I can use the back here to work on opening up the posture, always trying to draw in the midline, open up here. And again, so we're looking at hip external rotation on one side, hip internal rotation on the other. Like we were doing with the half kneeling one, we're looking at symmetry side to side when we switch. All right, so I can get in here, still can get my eyes on the television, and just look at what side's tighter. So for me, this side feels a bit easier to get into than this side here. Keep in mind with the Z-sit is that this back sit bone, so in this case it would be my left leg under this internally rotated leg, you want to try to keep that down as much as possible so you don't side bend off away from it. If it's tight enough, it'll kind of force you to do that. So you just do the best you can to try to keep this mobility. You're trying to work upright, trying to bring that hip down. You can use a cushion under the hip if need be to try to just give you a little bit more support and work into that a little more comfortably. So other than these two sitting positions, then you can also go into this sitting on feet position, which I find to be very comfortable. Now, you certainly have to have enough knee flexion, which is bending of the knees, to be able to get into this position, but it actually gets a little bit easier on this cushioned surface. All right, so again, I can have the ankles kind of back off the cushion in between where the cushion and the back of the couch meet, and it allows me to be in the position without having to put as much stress on the ankles. If I want, I can even move forward a little bit and get a little bit of stretch in my ankles if that's what I'm after. But if I just want to sit comfortably and watch TV, and I can actually hang out here, now I'm in a much better position for my hips. I'm not in as much flexion. My spine is easily in an upright, erect position, and now I can watch TV in a much more comfortable position. Doesn't mean I want to stay here the whole show that I'm watching or for several hours. It's just one position I can come into, and then I can go back into some of the other positions I already showed. I can also go onto the ground and use the couch in this way to help work on a good deep squat position. Alright, so if your ankles, like mine, are limited, you may not be able to get them all the way on the ground, but I can use the couch here to support me, so I'm not putting nearly as much stress on my knees because I have the support here. Alright, so I can get out and I can start working on even opening my hips up a little bit and being in this squatting position. So squatting we traditionally think of as a strength training exercise, but it really is just a position. It's almost another way that you can sit if you have enough mobility. Alright, so from there, if I hang out here too long and my knees get a little sore, I can just bring it forward, and now I can use the back of the couch as a guide for an upright torso to get my tailbone or my sacrum against there, and I can start working on knee extension and just some ankle pumps here, which help to stretch the whole posterior chain of the lower body. I can also get a little bit of a dural stretch, which is the soft tissue around the spinal cord, just by going up and down with my head, up and down with the toes. It's very healthy for the nervous system to kind of get this type of stretch and this type of mobility. Alright, so there's a lot of different options you can use for the couch as opposed to just the traditionally just collapsing into it, passing out, waking up in a concocted position, waking up having your neck hurt, having your back hurt. Make it active. You can still enjoy television. Alright, see you next time.